How you doing, man?
I'm much better. I'm much better after watching that Super Bowl. Let me tell you.
Man, tell me why. I didn't watch it, man. But my mom, I had to come in for Kendrick. But after that,
Yeah,
and I thought it was funny because he kind of threw a little sneak diss, and then he did the song anyway. I'm like,
yeah. That was awesome. Like Drake's career is over now, right? Like I think we have to all agree with that. There's no way you can come back from a whole Super Bowl crowd calling you a pedophile. Like you
and
can't come back from that.
he he shouldn't have been. I mean, that brother went. He sued. Huh? Man, that's okay. Rap battles then came like now it's the game is different, man. Like, how you
Yeah,
gonna sue somebody over a rap battle, homie?
for real. For real. You go call defamation for a song. You're not gonna win that, my guy. I mean, that's artistic expression.
Dude,
That's protected by the First Amendment.
that brother got lost. He lost all credibility that he even had, homie. Like, seriously, bro.
Like you got bullied so bad. You got bullied so bad that not only the song you got bullied with won Grammys, but it's played at the Super Bowl to 50 million people.
Man,
Like you got dunked on hard, fam. But now
mad cap, man.
it was just nice to watch the Chiefs get bodied. That was very, very cool.
Man, I have to be honest. I'm such a nerd. I don't know nothing about football. I don't even watch it or anything like that. Like I just, like the music. Like, man, the only sports that I'm into, I have to be honest. Freaking battle bots and skateboarding, and that's like the nerdiest thing for both. And it's funny because I break dance and all that, and it was a trip to see that in the Olympics, even though it was a horrible example with that Australian like freaking nepo like.
Yeah.
That was just an insult, bro. That's how you gonna mess up a black art like that, huh?
Somebody turned me on to this phrase recently that was like, black people be out here creating our own stuff, and then here come a European to ruin everything. And come on, I mean, Australians are European.
That was just the weirdest thing. Like, how you gonna do some kangaroo dance type madness? What the hell? What is this?
Like, yeah, literally having a whole seizure on stage. Like, what are you doing?
Like, dude, that had to be some kind of agent provocateur BS, man. Like, that was trolling, bro. And as a person that's been breaking since like 83, 84, I was pissed off. Dude, my mom was even pissed off.
I mean, I was too. I was pissed off because, like, what are you doing? This is not art. This is nonsense.
No. And
the fact that
they'll never have it at the Olympics again. I think that was what they're, man. Whatever, dude. We're from the street, bro. Our dance is from the street. Like no matter what. I've been popping before that, so it's like street, and we still like it. We don't care about no freaking Olympics and what they think.
You can't learn how to actually break if you go to like prep school or some shit. Like they're not going to teach you that there, and that's clearly
it's all. Well, let me introduce you, man. And if I mess up anything, please correct me, because I want to make sure that I get you right. We got this brother right here, Eli Arnold, multi-instrumentalist. His band Alien Lord is actually an anagram to his actual name. So he is Alien Lord. That's his solo project. But he's also played with bands like Zoito, the prog rock band Zoito, and also Order and Chaos, Calvin Chaos's band. That's actually how I met you, because I went to that Project 43 event, that was one of the most beautiful events, bro, in the hood. For the audience, shouts to Cinnamon Babe, shouts to Calvin Chaos, shouts to Elisha and Ziaria. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. All you guys just brought it. And it was so cool because it was right in the neighborhood, bro. Like, that was awesome, man. And it was free.
It was free. That's exactly why we wanted to do it. We wanted to bring metal and rock back to its roots, because at the end of the day, black, like Cinnamon Babe says, rock and roll is black. We
Yep,
invented that shit. That's our
we
stuff.
did.
You know what I mean? It wouldn't exist in the form that it is today without the influence of our ancestors. None of American culture
Exactly.
would. None of American culture would. We
Nope.
are American culture.
Yes. Yes. That's the emphasis. And see, there's been this debate, and it's, I'll be honest with you, and no disrespect for my other brothers and sisters outside of the diaspora, and shouts to Frank Biong. I interviewed him. He brought this up, and he's an African, by the way, like from the continent. We've done so much that they try to all lives matter our stuff because they always want to put down our culture. They always want to make sure cats are always thinking that we have no culture, but we've created culture that have gone global. Not just entertainment, but also in our inventions and stuff. But even bringing it back to the entertainment, dude, there's so much stuff that we've invented that has gone global, from the rock and roll to the jazz to the R&B to all of that. Even when talking about breakdancing and pop locking, same thing. It comes from a Black American context, a foundational Black American context. And it's messed up that like some cats now, like, because people are so used to this pervasive and also blatantly anti-Black racism, that they never want to give that props. And that's why we're here, because we ain't gonna let them get away with that.
Exactly. I mean, like, it's blatantly anti-Black racism, and that's what you're saying. Because like all of America loves everything about Black people except Black people, and that's what it's really about. If they could take us out of the equation, they would take everything that we've made, everything we've created, everything that we've done for this country, and just shove us somewhere else.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
I'll
they
be
do.
honest, to piggyback on what you're saying, that's why there's a delineation movement. And some people might think it's a bit harsh, but cats got to understand. Especially like a lot of original Black Americans have been very humble about our creations, and we've always shared, and nothing is wrong with that. But this time we're just like, hey, that's our culture. You want to down our culture? Well, hey, check this out. This is from our culture too. This is from our culture. This is from our culture. No, we're not just dude. No, we have a culture. We created it here, and we created it from the mud when we were getting hell thrown at us. That's what's so unique about even rock and roll. Think about it. Race music, right? And all of the devil music, like things and stuff that they were thrown at. Even our gospel music, they call devil music. That's the funniest thing.
They call jazz devil music. Jazz.
Yep.
Like, what do you even? You don't even know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard devil music in your life. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's devil music.
Yeah, and then they tried to throw it on the whole drug thing and reefer madness and all that crap. It's a trip thinking about it, but that's why we're here. And I'm glad. I love the comment that you said. Yeah, I'm gonna quote you from what was a Shout Out LA blog, I think. It says, "I want those little Black kids growing up that are listening to rock to know that there's someone out there doing the damn thing that is just like them." Excuse me, I don't have my glasses. Why do you think that I mean, my question is, just expound on that, and I know the answer, but I want you to say it. Why do you think that's important?
Because growing up, I didn't have somebody like that. I didn't know that there were people who were Black that weren't, just criminals, or who were actors that played criminals, or who were only rappers, who weren't only rappers. I mean, I didn't know that you could be anything other than the Black stereotype. And I didn't know that it was celebrated anywhere until I was about, like, let's say 15, 16 years old, and suddenly what's it called? Seven Dust shows up on my screen one day, and I'm like, that singer's Black.
Yeah, LaJohn.
Oh, I didn't think Black people sang in metal music. Maybe I should do it one day. And I kept that idea to myself, and then Kill Switch Engage came around with Howard Jones. And I'm like, that's two. If there's two, I can clearly do this myself as well.
Wow.
And that is why I needed to see that if one of those guys, or if two of those guys at least, were doing it, and succeeding on a massive, major scale, I could too.
Heavy,
And
man.
I was like 19 or something when I finally actually started really going for it. And I want kids to know now, because I started listening to metal when I was 12. So I want those little 12-year-old kids who are just now getting into metal, especially if they're black. I want them to know that people are going to call them weird. People are going to call them whitewashed and Oreo and all other kinds of stereotypical stupid names. But it's okay, because one, you're better than them. Two, your music taste is much cooler. And three, this is your music. And don't ever let anyone tell you that it's not. Because I wish
So
someone had told me when I was that age.
I have to ask, so what, first of all, what got you into rock and roll? Second of all, what got you into playing music? And third of all, me and my three-ended questions, what was your first encounter with music? And what made you want to play music?
I've always been musically inclined. I taught myself to sing at a very young age. I think I was like maybe 7 or 8 when I was singing by myself. Like, no problem. I would sing to songs on the radio all the time and just get them right. I learned piano when I was probably around 10. Hated piano, though, because I wasn't very good at it. Still not very good at it. But I love playing it. I've always had an ear for music since I was a very young child. I imagine it's because of the autism that I very recently found out that I have. Pattern recognition, all that kind of stuff. But that's really one of the things that has brought me, like, peace, really. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of abuse growing up in my household, and one of my safe havens was just putting on my headphones and listening to music, because I could just do that for hours and forget that the world even exists. I can do that now, and it's because I can't listen to music when I'm doing things like homework or reading, because I'm always into the song, and that's my only focus. So it's always been like that for me, and I've never wanted to do anything else.
What bands did you listen to that, as far as your inspiration? And I forgot to say this. So what got you into rock and roll, and what bands, whether than rock or non-rock, that got you into this stuff, that were inspirations for you?
Well, the band that got me into metal was Disturbed. That first album, The Sickness, in 2000, I heard that and I lost my mind. Like, that was just like, I didn't even know metal existed at that point. And I'm listening to this song, and it's just all the rage I'm feeling as a kid is coming into my ear holes and telling me that it's okay to be this angry. And that calms me down. You know, that sends me to a completely different place. And all I wanted was more of that feeling. So I just used the very new internet to find it. And now here I am.
It's amazing that you say that too. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I'm all excited.
No, go ahead. That was finished with my thought.
What you said about, like, how it calms you down, resonating with that anger. It's funny because most people think it's the complete opposite, where, and I talked about this, I think, with Eugene Robinson. People think that, yeah, you're just going to go out and wreck crap, like, and just be evil as hell if you listen to heavy metal. But what people don't realize is that catharsis, that cathartic nature of what this confrontational music, quote unquote, does, it kind of helps relieve a lot of that tension. It's like, okay, this person is speaking up for me in sound and also in word, and just kind of like, I identify with that and I'm letting myself out. Now, you get some people that might take that the wrong way, but for the most part, and I think I was watching that Heavy Metal Journey, and they even talked about this too. Like, it's actually kind of therapeutic in a lot of ways, when listening to the stuff that, I like a lot of metal, like the old 70s stuff, thrash metal and extreme metal, like death metal and grindcore, even though grindcore is more punk. I like a lot of that stuff, so I totally identify with what you're saying, and I'm not trying to destroy anything. It's a good music, like,
Yeah, good music is good music, and I feel like it's really there's like an intellectual barrier between people who understand what metal is like and people who just hear screaming or just hear noise. Like if you hear a metal song and you just want to break stuff, that I feel like is an impulse control issue and you should probably seek
Mm.
therapy. But if you hear metal and you hear artistic music, even if you don't like it, that probably means you have a little bit higher brain function and you're more willing to be accepting of something that might be out of your wheelhouse. You know what I mean? It's like the people who just want to go kick trash cans or punch windows or punch other people when you go to see a metal show. Those are not people listening to metal for the right reasons. They don't hear the songs; they hear the aggression. They're not listening to it.
Yeah,
They're listening to it to deal with their daddy issues instead of going to therapy.
yeah. I mean, for me, I love high energy music, and I equate metal with the same thing that I equate stuff like Stravinsky or like a lot of free jazz stuff like Cecil Taylor. It's very high energy music. Even oh man, I just love like that energy. Like real allegro, fast, or just like even if it's slow, just like that. I like that aggression. It's just something about the energy that like, I don't do good with like Kenny G or anything like that. The only mellow music I really listen to is like Ethiopian church music and maybe some other forms of Middle Eastern music. But then there's still allegro stuff with that too, you know, or like African music. I mean, but there's still that allegro roots with that, like so it's just yeah, man.
Like there's
So
there's something allegro in every single genre, but I mean it doesn't like one of my favorite bands is Vola. They're from Denmark/Sweden, and they make a lot of really just chill, like vibey kind of metal music, but it's still metal. You know what I mean? Every once in a while they'll have something that's a little soft, but then they got that one song that's gonna kick you in the teeth, and
yeah,
that's what I love. I love that kind of stuff.
man. And with that, like, so were there any other influences? And then I have some other questions relating to like not only just your name, but the project Alien Lord, and even some of the genres that it kind of reminds me of. But I'm curious. Sorry, I get so exuberant about like questions. I have like 40 million questions in one. Sorry
Yeah,
about that. So with that, like, oh my gosh! Now I forgot. I hope you got all that, but like,
influences, right? I would say biggest ones would be Mudvayne, definitely. God, Mudvayne, definitely Howard Jones. As far as what's it called? Influences. As far as vocal influences go, you're going to talk about Spencer Sotelo from Periphery, Dan Tompkins from Tesseract, what's his name? Ash O'Hara from Voices from the Fuselage, and also Tesseract. And, there's OTEP for songwriting, even though it's different these days, but a lot of her old stuff, man, she was a poet, absolute poet, and I loved her writing. As far as screaming goes, Howard Jones again, really, and Demon Carcass from X the Faceless, but currently in the Zenith Passage, which is very difficult to say. But I have influences all across the spectrum. It's of metal, really. I love metal music that sounds good. I'm not necessarily like one of those genre Nazis, which is the only good Nazi. um, I don't really care about genres all that much anymore. But I do particularly stick to progressive metal and gent and some metalcore here and there. So all of that is where my wheelhouse is. Like ever since I found out about Mudvayne, I can't listen to music in 4/4 time anymore. It's just that it just bores.
One of my students showed me some interesting Mudvayne stuff, and it's funny because they were known as a new metal band, but then they had this whole other sci-fi thing, even to the point where it's like, okay, we're not just gonna wear makeup, we're gonna go complete alien on cats, man, like, and not Daft Punk alien, but actually looking like somebody from another world. It's like, that's a trip. So it's like, and it's almost very progressive in their own right too,
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was gonna say this about Alien Lord, what I heard, it reminds me of sci-fi. Even without knowing the name, hearing it right off has a sci-fi type vibe, like bands like Voivod, or even Hawkwind, where they're an early space rock psychedelic band from like the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Like it has that space vibe, but also like that gent. I was gonna mention the gent and almost like maybe sort of a gothic, maybe I don't want to say new metal too much because that's also a mix, but it's a mix of a bunch of different things and definitely prog metal for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's all that in one to me, at least from what I'm hearing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. There is some new metal influence in there because I mean, we all grew up on, especially if you're around my age. I grew up on that stuff. We were talking like the Corn, the Disturbed, the Mudvayne, of course. Who else was big at the time? Damn it!
System of a
Become like
Down.
blanking. System of a Down. Yes, of
One
course.
of my favorite
Like,
bands. I like that band.
yeah, come on. I've seen them live twice. They're fantastic. Who
Slipknot.
doesn't love System of a Down? It's weird to see. Yeah, Slipknot. Yes, it's weird to see people hate System of a Down. By the way, but
That
like,
band.
yeah, there's.
They're very progressive, and I'll be honest. I met Shabo at NAMM, and he had a Frank Zappa T-shirt, and we got it because I'm a Frank Zappa fan. We got into a discussion about Frank Zappa and Bad Brains because he did that video for them
Oh,
for
yeah.
$1. Crazy.
Yeah, Shava's cool. He's an excellent bass player. But there is a little new metal influence in there because there's influence from everything I love, from gent to progressive metal to just like metalcore with the chorus. You got the clean singing stuff and the harmonies. I just wanted to blend everything I like into a song that I would actually listen to, and that I feel like is what has been my biggest songwriting hurdle with the bands that I've been in previously. Like in Zolto, I basically had no creative direction at all. I was just basically expected to show up and sing. And
I'm
when I did
surprised
express,
because your voice is very. I'm hearing what they're doing, but your voice is like. I mean, it's not just like that voice plays a whole part. I mean, yeah, you have the makeup on and everything, but the voice itself, I'm like, man, because you have a really wide range in what you can do with your voice, and the little that I've heard even from them, it's like it's not like you can just say, okay, he's just a vocalist. No, you have your own thing going on. But I'm surprised that you're saying that.
yeah, I could have done a lot more than I did in the Zolto songs that are released. And there's a couple of songs that are unreleased that'll most likely never be put out because I never recorded them. But there's a couple of songs where I actually had a little bit of freedom. I actually was able to go a little wild with stuff, but mostly it was very controlled because they were more worried about selling a product than creating an art piece, like creating music. Like they wanted to wrap it up in a nice little corporate bow so they could get people to buy it rather than make something that sounds good, sounds authentic, right? So I was there. They basically wrote parts for a singer who could hit the notes that I could hit without giving me any way to write around that, any creative control within that area. I couldn't really do anything like theatrical or acrobatic with my voice because they wouldn't allow it.
Wow.
And my creative was basically very stifled. So that's why when you listen to those songs, they're all very simple. They're all very radio friendly. And that's fine if people like that music, but that's not what I want to write.
But you still, your presence is felt. What's up, David Branscombe in the house? That guy's an amazing musician. I interviewed him too. Check him out, man. Amazing drummer. Dude, you guys should, it'd be rad if y'all work together too. But seriously, bro, like, I understand how like, and I have to ask this. So with Alien Lord, are you playing all the instruments or is just the vocals? Because I know you play more than just your voice.
Without giving away too many secrets, I will say that I have a major influence. I don't want to give away too many secrets, but I will say I have major influence on all of the songwriting, and you're going to hear it much more fully in the next song that's going to come out later this year.
That's awesome. You guys are already hit some charts on a metal website. I remember like you saying that in one of the videos. What site was that again? Tell me. I
That was
forgot. I'm
that was
sorry.
Reverb. That was ReverbNation.com. My song is currently #9 in Los Angeles,
Right.
and I think we're
Right.
in the top 30 in California. So that's kind of cool.
Awesome. Man, when it comes to metal in Los Angeles, I'll say this, like I'm kind of old school with like KNAC and all that stuff. I grew up in the 80s and well, I'm a 70s born kid. You know, when it came to metal, I mostly embraced it in the 80s and 90s. But it was cool. KNAC was kind of like the radio station for that back then, and they would
Mhm.
play like all kinds of stuff. But there was one thing that was really standing out that I really liked. They had the corporate metal stuff, like they would have Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue on there, but they had the underground. Like so I'm hearing bands like Brujeria, who we didn't know was from LA at the time. They're from Mexico. We thought they were from Mexico, but it was a bunch of different people from different bands. We had bands lesser known like Lepra, and Entity. A lot of them are death metal bands, and then and then we're hearing bands like Demolition Hammer. I don't think Demolition Hammer's from here, but Demolition, Fear Factory, before they went really big, they were more of a death metal kind of like, actually kind of sci-fi, industrial death metal band. They kind of tapped into like a lot of that stuff too. And so many others that like, Los Angeles have had an extreme metal um, uh, thing going on since probably the 80s. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about a band that you don't like. I'm going to talk about that later. Slayer's one, but then you have bands like, yeah, well, I want to ask about that, but I'll ask about it later. People like Gene Hoglan and all that, with the bands that he's been in. I mean, there's a lot. And Caton from Hyrax, even though, yeah, they're from Orange County, but to me, I'm just thinking of like the greater, when I think of LA, I'm thinking of LA County, but I'm also thinking of, yeah, some aspects of Orange County. But it's interesting now because it was so underground when I got into like a lot of this stuff. Like
Yeah.
even bands, some of them were played on KNAC, but a lot of them you had to either get tapes from, or you'll see somebody wearing a really crazy T-shirt and you're wondering who that band was. It wasn't Metallica or Slayer or Anthrax. It was something even more visceral than that. I'm curious now, what do you think about the LA metal scene? Because I don't really know like what's going on these days. I really liked what was going on back then for sure, even though I didn't really get to too many shows back then. But the bands, I still recommend to people, even though a lot of them are underground. Entity is one of my favorites. They're East LA death metal grind band. They're crazy, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry for my long-windedness. What's your take on the LA metal scene these days?
Uh, I wish the LA metal scene was a lot more diverse than it was. Not just like racially or anything, but musically speaking, especially when we're speaking about metal. There are a lot of musicians in the scene that still only are influenced by like the classics. We're talking your Ozzy Osbourne, Slayer, Anthrax, Iron Maiden. Those like, and that's fine. You can have those influences, but for people who like me who want to make modern music, it often does not translate well because like we're still these people are influenced by music from 40 years ago. I'm trying to make songs that sound like the future, and that makes it very difficult to find other musicians to work with. Now, when it comes to the bands, there are some people who are doing very cool things, and I know a lot of them. A Zombie Eating Horse, for one. I don't even like death metal. They're very good. Yeah,
That
Zombie Eating Horse is very
name is
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, there's another one. Brain Eating Amoeba is another one that's female fronted, not death metal, more like hardcore. Uh, but they're from out here in LA. People are doing cool things. I have another friend that I can't remember the name. Strife, there it is. My friend's band Strife is actually really good, and I really like them. I think they're finally doing something different now that they found a singer that actually works for them. So I wish them a lot of really good luck because music's real good now.
Is it
But
a
there's
hardcore
things
band,
happening.
Stray?
Striker's more I would say metalcore with kind of hardcore leanings, but with
Oh,
mostly clean singing.
Huh. Might be a
They also have a female vocalist. She's awesome. She's very good. I feel like more people should look that up. I'm gonna shout them out here pretty soon. Anyway, there are some diamonds in the rough, but it's real rough out here. That's what I'm saying.
I like the way you flip that sentence. Rough and rough.
I'm just saying.
No, that's cool, and it's amazing that you have that kind of focus. I mean, it's amazing also when talking about like futuristic type themes or science fiction themes. Like Voidbot was like the very first band, at least what people would call extreme metal band, that I heard like that. And I think, knowing about Hawkwind, that was another thing too. But talking about in stuff that would have really influenced, and then there's bands like Cynic too. They kind of had, I don't know if you're familiar with them. They kind of had that sort of vibe as well, and man, that's the trip, man. I there's something else I was going to ask when it comes to that kind of genre of music. What would be an idea? No, I think you said not to ask about that. Thinking about a few, like just idea future, idea music wise when it comes to like just playing metal. Is thinking outside the box more of a priority, or just kind of a balance between remaining with certain things that might be traditional and then kind of doing both,
I don't know if it's thinking outside of the box or if it's just being creative. I think just being unique and not wanting to do the same thing everyone else has already done for the sake of proper. Yeah, just for the sake of profit or popularity. I want to make something I would listen to. If I'm telling you right now that there's a part in this new song that is going to be weird. It's going to turn a lot of people off. I already know. But I don't care because I like it, and that's what matters. If it ends up being something that's like unique and different and weird and super cool or innovative, then great. If it's terrible, then it's terrible. But the fact of the matter is, I like it. End of story.
I'll be honest with you. I think the same way. I actually have a song where it's like, imagine Julie Andrews fronting a death metal band. Like I literally have a song like that. I haven't recorded it yet, but I've played it live when I've had my own band play. I have songs that mix classical and reggae. I mean, like that's so I understand where you're getting at, and I'm glad that there's more people that are thinking like yourself. Just create, like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And with that, I have to ask this. Oh wait, what was that?
I was just saying because like there's so many people who create because they wanna be rock stars. They wanna have their name up in lights, and like that's the great part of creating. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not why we do this.
Nah.
Well, at least why I do this is because I love doing it, and I'm hoping that one day my love of doing it will turn into a job.
Real talk. You got pipes, man. I remember one of the first times I hit you up. I'm like, man, you have a very good voice. I don't know if you remember that. And I have that video. Yeah, it was like a few years ago. It was after that. I have that video of you guys at Project 23 on this page, and I was like, man, that guy has a really good voice. And it was in my head for a while too.
Yeah.
When you and Kelvin's band, you guys are rocking that, and now I have to ask this: what's your beef with Slayer?
How much time you got?
We got time.
Okay, so I've tried to get into Slayer over the years, and I simply cannot. And I've even seen them live once. I saw them. God, it was like I think it was a Mayhem Fest, and but they were there. Marilyn Manson was playing right after them, and I just wanted to see if I liked their set. And then I'd see Marilyn Manson and go home. Instead of seeing Marilyn Manson, I left in the middle of their concert because I was so bored of their music.
Huh.
I was bored to tears of Slayer's music. It all sounded. I was like 4 or 5 songs into the set, and I'm like, I don't know that I'm 4 or 5 songs into the set. I'm just gonna go before traffic hits.
Wow.
Like I missed out on seeing Marilyn Manson back when he wasn't. Well, I can't okay, I was gonna say back when he wasn't a douchebag, that there wasn't the time that existed. So, but I missed out on seeing Marilyn Manson live because I could not stand to be listening to Slayer for any longer than I absolutely have to. And stating that opinion online gets hate from the notoriously insane Slayer fans. Notoriously insane and racist Slayer fans.
How?
So,
Wait,
I said notoriously insane and racist Slayer fans.
Oh boy, yeah,
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'll say this: I am a Slayer fan. No, I'm not into the whole satanic thing at all, and I understand, their Rain in Blood album. Even though some people just took it like it was if they're praising all that, Nazi stuff. They were pretty much being narrative of that situation. And that, to me, like, as far as like that drummer really influenced my drumming a lot. Dave Lombardo's an amazing drummer. And Tom, he goes off, and I like Jeff's guitar stuff. But and Carrie and Jeff, they were rocking it well. I mean, I was into that stuff at the time. But yeah, man, certain cats, like I don't know, man. If they're gonna be racist about it, that's just so stupid, like that's your opinion, you know what I'm saying? And you're entitled to that. But I saw that video, they're trying to clown you and stuff. It's just like, dude, and I like the way that you talking about the Gap. I'm like, have they ever seen a Gap? Like, that's the weird, like, dude, that is so dumb.
They don't hang out with black people. They don't know any black people. They always say, oh yeah, my best friend's black. No, he's not.
No, he's
No, he's not. You need to stop. I need you to have several seats.
No, he's exactly. That's old. Yeah. That died, man. That died with You're One of the Good Ones. I can't stand that. Yeah, exactly.
We all know you ain't got any black friends. Stop saying that.
Yeah, and then they just try to like use that as a stalking horse. We're not stupid, man. We can see behind your code speech, bro.
Exactly.
But, man.
Statistically, we are the smartest demographic. Black women, especially, are the smartest demographic of people in this country. But they want to think we're stupid.
That's ridiculous. Man, and so with that, what is, can I ask this, or is it more of a secret of what you're working on now? Are you still like is Alien Lord your main band, or are you doing any other projects? Also, did I miss any of the bands when I was introducing you? I mentioned Zoito and Order and Chaos, but did I miss anything else?
No. Those are the ones I've got right now. Alien Lord, Zolto, by the way, Zolto.
Sorry about that.
Zolto, yeah. It's just Alien Lord Zolto. But actually, you know what? There is one, DFB. Dylan Furban, which is the one I was originally in. That was my first. That was like my major industry debut or whatever. That whole Arnold perspective was signed by or was distributed by Famine Records. So we were signed. We had a whole record deal and everything. It's pretty cool. It's actually not terrible music that I'm not ashamed of. I took to this day. I'm like, this is still pretty cool because it was still very close to what I actually wanted to perform professionally. You know what I mean? It was still proggy, it was still experimental, it was still raw and weird, and I liked it. And I feel like that's
awesome.
That's really the point. I'm always the happiest when I'm making stuff that I like. Speaking of which, while Alien Lord is coming out with stuff, I am forming something that I kind of want to do entirely by myself. Whereas, I have minions helping the Alien Lord, of course, but there are some things that I want to do by myself entirely, and I want to write more guitar music. So very soon, in the next probably couple of weeks, I'm going to be buying an actual guitar. I can already play bass, as you can see. I have a bass back here. I can already play bass. I've been playing bass since like 19. But I've never really tried that hard to play guitar. I took like 2 guitar classes in college. That's about it. I can play basic stuff. I can write basic stuff. So I'm going to make basic music. Because there's just some things that I want to say that don't really artistically fit with the whole Alien Lord vibe, and I don't want to ruin that. So I'd rather put it in a different project. That way I'm still putting out music, and I still get to do what I want with Alien Lord. Everybody wins.
So here's another question I should have asked this earlier. How did the Alien Lord thing come about? And did you realize that was your name first before you formed the band? That's hilarious.
Funny story. I didn't actually. One of my TikTok followers, Robert Finnertree. That's a Finnertree. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. But Robin, he actually was like, "Hey, so I was telling people, like, I'm trying to do a new project, but I don't know what to name it." And he was like, "Okay, well, an anagram of your name is either Lord Alien or Alien Lord." So I was like, really? So I did all the math myself real quick, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that sounds cool."
He just randomly shot, like he had too much time on his hands to dissect your name like that, but very clever.
I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did. Thank you very much. Because that's really, really cool. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, so I obviously like jumped on that. Because that's my name, man.
That's hilarious, man. Man.
So
Eli Arnold.
I got lucky there. I'm really happy with it.
So, like, do you still talk to this cat? Like, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, we still follow each other all the time. Yeah, absolutely.
That's rad.
They still comment on my videos. It's really, really cool. I think of every time I mention that. Hey, this is my band's name. Thanks to Robin. So, yeah. Every time I see you like one of my videos, I'm like, hey, that's the guy. That's the guy.
That's heavy, man. Next thing you're getting a Grammy and he's up on stage with you. Like, that's awesome.
In the completely and very unlikely event that I get nominated for a Grammy, obviously he's coming.
That's rad.
I already plan on not accepting that shit because they've been playing with metal for too long, and it's about time we were more center stage.
I got something to say about that, and you might laugh at this. So it's about, I think, 1989. First time that they ever thought of giving a heavy metal award to any band. Metallica, I'll be honest, they weren't as popular as they are now, but that was the year that they did their first video, and they had a huge underground following. Like,
they were still popping. Sorry? And they still get that shit to Jethro Tull.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And I'll say this. If they gave Jethro Tull the award that in 1972 for Aqualung, it would have worked. But not in 1989. The Crest of a Knave wasn't heavy at all. You had some old fogies probably like trying to be safe with it. And I'm sure Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull was kind of cracking up, but he's been kind of playing off of it because he knows it's funny. He's all, we have our heavy metal elixir. I forgot what advertisement for something that they were doing, and you could tell because he has a funny sense of humor with stuff like that. But yeah, everybody knew that was wrong, bro. And as you said, they've been playing with metal too long, bro. Like, and Metallica definitely should have got that for Just for All. That year, they killed. To me, that was the last album that I liked from them. But that album actually, like, I mean, this is like after Cliff passed and everything. It would have been the coolest thing for them to get that Grammy, even in honor of him, even though he's not on that album. But and it was a great album. But yeah, that was lame. Crest of a Knave was not metal. It was awful.
It was.
Aqualung could have been metal.
I feel like the first and only time the Grammys have ever gotten the metal category right, at least in my lifetime, as far as I know. I'm probably leaving something out, but this year they gave the Grammy to Gojira for Mea Culpa.
Huh.
And I only say that because I 100% believe Spirit Box should have won for Cellar Door because Cellar Door was a better song, to be fair. But Gojira debuting Mea Culpa while on a castle filled with the heads of Marie Antoinette.
Oh, that's crazy.
And playing the fire at the Olympics was clearly a much bigger moment for metal. Hands down.
Huh.
That was Gojira showed the world that metal still exists and still badass, which is why ever since then it's been on the upswing.
Wow.
I'm telling you right then. I mean, metal's been on the upswing for years now. I've actually lost friends because they did not agree with me about metal being
Huh?
on the upswing.
Why
I've been
was why
telling
would
people
why
metal's
would they
coming
not
back for
agree with
years.
you?
Huh?
Why would they not agree? Or they're just underground purists or something? What's the
Under,
deal with that?
underground, not even underground purists. This dude's favorite band was the Rolling Stones. He only paid attention to the top 40. And if you weren't in the top 40, you were not relevant.
Metal never gave a crap about that. Even Black Sabbath didn't give a damn about that stuff.
That
That's weird. Even they ended up on some kind of top 40 thing, but they never cared about that. That's
No,
pretty.
because it's not
That's
about
funny.
that. It's never been, even when metal was at the precipice of culture, it was never about the charts. It
Never.
was about the music.
Yeah,
And like that's what he
that's it.
didn't understand. He wouldn't understand because again, his favorite band was the Rolling Stones. This dude is my age, and his favorite band is the Rolling Stones.
I'm just tripping off of what he's saying about metal. I mean, and I mean, comparing him to the Rolling Stones is like comparing like a freaking lychee fruit to like freaking grapes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, because
That's,
they're two completely different things. And I understand that more people listen to pop music or the top 40 or whatever, but that's not the point I'm making here. The point I'm making is metal is on the come up, and guess who was right? Like, you didn't expect to see a French metal band at the Olympics, did you? You didn't
wow.
expect a river in France to be filled with red streamers, supposedly, representing the blood spilled by Marie Antoinette's beheading,
That's pretty crazy.
right?
I
You
was like, that's
weren't
bad.
to see that. That's where metal is at this particular moment, which is why I keep telling people we need to clean up our fucking act. Sorry, I don't know if you need. I don't know if you're like about cussing on here,
No, I'm
but
not. I'm not tripping. You
okay,
know.
yeah. I'm just like we need to, as a scene, as a community, we need to clean up our act because people are paying attention now. So stop with the raping people, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm
We
all
do
for
that a
that.
lot.
Wow. Like writing about that, or people actually doing that?
Actually doing it and then just abusing women on top of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not
it
cool.
happens a lot.
That's not cool in any circle. Never. That's
Mm-hmm.
never good.
As we're
That's not.
talking Till Lindemann of Ramstein. We're talking Franz from Attila. We're talking, there's a guy from a band called, on another tour with him. That's a whole issue. But there's Marilyn Manson. Look at that. There's so many people. Every day, every other week, it seems like someone else is accused of between the buried and me. The basis from between the buried and me accused of rape. Like these dudes just cannot keep it in their pants. They're constantly being called out for it. They're constantly being harassed for it because they're doing it. And that's
That's
pretty credible evidence. Most of the time they're doing it. The one time that somebody was accused and they didn't do it was Decapitated. Decapitated, death metal band from somewhere
yeah.
in Europe.
I've
Poland?
heard about them,
Yeah, they were arrested on my birthday, actually.
but
In Orange
I didn't
County.
know that. I didn't know any of this stuff happened. I mean, I know about, and you talked about the Tim Lambesis thing. That he should be in jail for that.
He
I don't. I mean,
should have been in
I
jail.
usually don't get into talking about, but yeah, since it came up, that's just wrong, bro. And I didn't know
I mean,
that there was other things after that until I saw what you said about him. I'm like, wow, that's
yeah,
crazy.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, the reason most people are mad at him now is because he hit a dog, not because he hired a hitman to kill his wife.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. That makes no sense at all. I
And like
don't
I said,
understand that.
and like I said, Attila, you know Attila, right?
Yeah,
Have you heard of Oceano? You've heard of Oceano?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They have
Adam Warren, the singer of the
a
guy,
black member there's a black member in Oceano as well. But what?
Adam Warren, he's the vocalist. Yes, he basically had to drop off the tour because everybody else on it had credible allegations of sexual assault, and he didn't know. So instead of bullying the people who were credibly accused of sexual assault, people bullied Adam Warren for being on a tour with abusers. Make that make sense.
He didn't know, right? Oh
He
man.
did not know. He said he genuinely did not know. He said, I made a mistake. I didn't do any research. I didn't look that shit up. I'm not on the internet all the time. I don't look at all the news. Okay? I wasn't paying attention. Obviously, now that I know all of this, we're going to take the band off of this tour. We're
Wow.
not doing that. But he's also like, you know what? If this is how you're going to treat me because I didn't know a thing, I quit. And I think he's deleted all of his social media channels.
Oh man. I
They bullied him
it's
off
just
the
all new
internet.
to me.
Yeah, see, this is what's happening in the scene right now. And like people don't know this stuff. It's all over the metal news. You just have to pay attention to the metal news.
I'll be honest, I'm old, I ain't gonna lie. So it's like most of the stuff that I know about, like, unless I'm doing research for stuff like this, you know, when it comes to like, I have to, you know, sometimes I get my information from my own students or just people that are younger than me or people that are really involved in the scene like yourself. Other than that, I had no idea. It's a trip, like, just even, it's disheartening, man, you know, when things like this go down, especially for people that you might even admire their talent, but it just loses all steam, like when things like this come up, you know. Man, that's heavy.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, why am I doing all this? Well, why am I putting my entire life on hold for people who are just going to hate everything I do simply because I didn't choose to be born this way? I didn't choose to be born with black skin. It just, you know, here I am. And now you're going to tell me that I am subject to being bullied off of the internet for maybe not knowing a thing instead of going after the people who've committed actual crimes.
Well, it's always their default. It's the same thing that, you know, it reminds me of what this evil pig, I'm not going to mention his name, tried to blame Louis Farrakhan for some white supremacist, basically like terrorist attack. And it's like, dude, we already know what your default is, and we know who's your bread and butter, and we already know what cue you're taking. They're obsolete when they do that. The thing is, you gave us the reason that you're here, and it's for that black kid that might feel that alienation. You know, I know what it's like being a black punk rocker back in the late 80s and early 90s, going through that. Thank God I had parents that were supportive, you know, except for, you know, and family and even some friends. But then the outside world, people, you know, you're getting called the N-word on one end and then called an Oreo on the other end. That could be kind of jarring for people that, you know, may not can deal with that, you know. And it's just, you're in the right place, and that kid, those youths are going to appreciate what you're doing, you know, and adults like myself appreciate what you're doing right now. And that's why you're on this program. I'm like, let me cover this brother and let more people know about him, even though I'm sure a lot of people know about you. But it's an honor to have you on here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like most people know me from being that one guy in that one Jared Dines video, but either way, people know my music as well.
Awesome. Wait, I didn't see that. You're on that?
You seen Metal Screaming Doesn't Take Talent?
No, I've seen Jared. I don't. You know, I haven't been keeping up with him since MySpace days. He always cracked me up though.
Yeah,
with his death.
He's big on YouTube now, and like 7 years ago, probably now. He made this video that went mega viral. That said, like the title of it was "Metal Screaming Doesn't Take Talent," and that's what he was going on tour with his band, with Drusar Stalin, who I also don't really fuck with anymore, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, but he went on tour with his band, and while he was on tour, he was making content for this video. So he would ask people in the audience, just standing outside in the smoking areas, hanging out, whatever, to do a metal scream for him to see if just random people could do it. And
Sick.
If it was, and so he asked a bunch of people. Around the middle of the video, he gets to me. I do some like black metal type fry screams way up top. That kind of thing. Yeah.
We gotta hear one of those screams before you leave.
I mean, if it's not too late, maybe we'll see.
Okay.
But I do that kind of stuff. I do that kind of stuff, and he looks at me. He's like, "Hey, that's black metal as fuck." Fuck yeah! And he gives me a fist bump, and like the whole internet saw that. It was like, "Ha, black metal, because you're black." Like,
They were making jokes like that.
Yeah. That's what they were making jokes of, but that's what they recognized me from.
That's rad, man. Right on.
Like I still get recognized from that video to this day. It's been like 6-7 years, man.
See, I didn't even know that, so I'm glad that you let me know that because I would have mentioned it. I do my research before, and I always ask my artists like, let me know like if I missed anything. So thank you for that. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, definitely. Metal streaming doesn't take talent.
That's rad. You're gonna laugh at this. I do a lot of crazy stuff with my voice as well. So I'm at Brutal Truth, them and Despise You, one of the sickest shows. It was at some place out in East Los Angeles. This is probably a decade ago at this point. Brutal Truth is Dan Lilker. He's like a metal, like, you know, if you know who he is, Nuclear Assault, SOD, but that's his grindcore band. So my favorite song comes on, Stench of Prophet, and because I can do the, I go and try to do the yelling, it comes like a, it was like all week, and I'm like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, dang, dude.
Oh, I know the pain.
So no, dude, look at his eyes. I was like, I know how to do it better than that, but I don't know what was up with my throat at that time. I was like, it sounded so bad, man. I was bummed, man. You know, Kevin Sharp almost shoved the mic in my mouth. Like, you can hear my teeth. I was like, it was awful, bro.
But sometimes you gotta throw the whole vocal box away.
I usually go, I can go loud. Well, I can't do it loud right here, but yeah. I usually can go off, but like, I don't know, I was so bummed when I couldn't do it, man. I was like, damn, dude. That's one of my favorite songs, and I actually had the mic in my face for that. I think it was on their last tour, too.
Oh, no. So you had no chance to redeem yourself.
Man, the Boulevard, that was the name of the club. Yeah, that was still a great show, but I was bummed, man. I'm like, dang. So when you did that, that's awesome. You brought it, man. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, I knew he was doing it the moment I saw him. Or at least the moment I saw that he was on the tour, I saw that he was also like filming content, and I was like, I'm gonna find myself a way to get in the action. And I saw that he was moving down a wall, asking everybody in line to do a battle stream. I'm like, I'm just gonna put myself in this position right over here and wait till he comes along. So that's what happened. I mean, and now people recognize me from a video I did almost a decade ago.
That's awesome, and now they, you know, hopefully that's turned people onto your music too. You know, like that's the one thing.
It's turned a lot of people. I have 46,000 followers on my TikTok account. Another 18,000 on my backup account. People recognize me from that all the time on the street, at shows, at NAMM. Like people, like everybody recognizes me from that video or from like one of my previous bands, which is also very cool. It's always cooler when people recognize me for my music. But it's also very cool to still be recognized from that video.
That's awesome. With this, and I should have asked this before, so was your first band the band that you're talking about that had the major industry, or were there other bands before that, whether they're garage or not?
There were many bands before that. The very first band I was in was called Inferna. And we were not good. We were a hardcore band. I played bass and sang backup instead of being the vocalist. And I felt like I was okay. My bass was not. I got notes wrong on the bass all the time, but I'm not a good bass player. But my singing was on. My singing was on point. However, after the band, not so much. Together, we were not a cohesive unit. In fact, our very first and our last show, the two guitarists got into a verbal argument on stage about what song we were supposed to play next. And then we kind of just finished the show. Finished.
So that So that was the first and last show? Oh wow.
We broke up. We broke up shortly after that. It's
Man.
wild because we rehearsed for like 6 months for that show, and it came to nothing. It was great. But either way, we played on stage with, what is their name? They were one of the bands that won like the Battle of the Bands for Ozzy Osbourne at the time.
Huh.
Yeah, I keep playing. It's like Atticus, Athena, some A band. Can't remember the name of it anymore. But they were on a tour, like a U.S. tour, after winning the Ozzy Osbourne Battle of the Bands, and they were the headliner. So we hopped on that show. There it is.
Wow. That's dope.
Sorry, it was Mantis. Mantis is the name of the band.
What was it?
Mantis.
Mantis. Heavy, man.
Yeah.
That's a trip, man. Heck.
So yeah, they came to our town. We got booked on the show. We opened for them. They let us sing on stage at the very end, even though I had no idea what their lyrics were. So they just put the mic in my face and was like, "Scream at us." I was like, "Okay." Yeah, sure. You want me to scream? I like screaming and I'm on stage. Let's go.
That's amazing, man. Shoot, man. So were you always an LA native, or did you live anywhere else, or born anywhere else?
So I grew up in Cherry Valley, California, which nobody knows where it is. But if you know where Casino Morongo is, if you know where Casino Morongo is, you do know. It's basically straight down the 10, near Beaumont and Palm Springs.
Dang.
Yeah, way out there in the desert. And then we went from the low desert to the high desert. Moved to Hesperia when I was a kid. That was right after 9/11, actually. Yeah, we lived in Hesperia. I lived in the high desert for like 10 years, then moved to Orange County for another 9, which was a huge mistake. And I've been living in LA. Yeah.
What part of Orange County? Hopefully not HB.
And no, not HB. Never HB.
You know why?
No.
I hate HB. I'm not too fond of HB.
No. No, we don't go to HB. We don't go to South Orange County.
Yeah. No, I understand. We both know.
Yeah. South OC is dangerous. Like, I wouldn't even drive Uber down there because, like, just rich white Republicans and black folks. You know how many white women who were drunk have just grabbed my hair without permission?
Not cool. Not cool.
They think that asking for permission is permission because they assume I'm going to say yes. And I'm like, no, don't touch my hair. Leave me alone. Like,
that's not cool.
Yeah. Like, on top of that,
man. Yeah. See, I'm bald now. Long as cats ain't really.
Don't run my hand.
Yeah, I can't stand that. They will do. Cats will do that too.
Right. Like, I'm not a genie. Shut up.
For real. But yeah, man, that's crazy. You're in Anaheim?
Yeah, I was in Anaheim. I worked at Disneyland for like 2.5 years.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was fun. But I live like right next to the stadium, to the park. So like it was very convenient. It wasn't a bad neighborhood, mostly like Hispanic and Asian, so not a lot of problems. But there was a Krusty Krab cultist rally down the street at the park down the street from my house. So that was a little scary. But at the same time, it was immediately shut down by everybody who lives in Anaheim, because even though Anaheim is a German word, it's full of Mexicans now.
Wait, so, was that the one where cats were like, they ran those fools off?
Oh, yeah, that was the one.
Dude, I was dying laughing when I saw that on video, man. I'm like, cats thought that they can get away with that junk. And they got ran the hell off.
They got stabbed with their own flagpoles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was like a few years ago.
Not playing around.
I remember that was like That was like not even some years back. That was like a few years. I remember when that happened.
That was like
Yeah.
that was like 5-6 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, man, wow. I was wondering what group that was. You said that was crazy, man.
That was the Triple K. Yeah, I call them the Krusty Krab cultists because it's easier.
Yeah. No, I understand. That's funny. I have other acronyms that I'm not gonna say here for them, but I'll let you know. They're just awful. That's what I'm playing with that stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when did you move to LA?
What's that?
What is it?
I said I like to call them DMF. That's DMF. That stands for dead motherfuckers.
Hey, yeah, that stuff is not flying no more, dude. That stuff is not cool.
No,
it wasn't cool then. People were fighting back then. People were fighting back then. You look at man. Dude, there's another history that they don't tell you about with the civil rights movement, and that was the armed history. People were not taking that stuff. The Negroes with guns came out around that time too, with that brother. You know who I'm talking about. You know, Brother Robert. But yeah, I mean, cats were not just and notice. Dr. King didn't trip on cats. I mean, he had the Deacons of Defense too. People don't want to talk about that.
I'm sure they will soon because they already got the files on MLK, so I'm sure they're going to try to smear him.
Oh, they've been trying to. And anything that they say, to me, I don't believe it because it's COINTELPRO stuff. COINTELPRO's known for that. They were trying to smear him then. You got idiots like Charlie Kirk trying to basically talk trash. It's like, dude, we're like 3,000 steps ahead of you. We already know what you're getting your talking points from. We know that you got them from the COINTELPRO BS. I don't want to hear any of it because we already know what you're about with their devil-ass tactics like that. Yeah, anything that they say can be used against them at this point because they're very disingenuous when they come to their programs and stuff that they've done to us for a long time. Government sanctioned.
It's nefarious. It's like they're gaslighting us into thinking we're the bad guys, and we're smarter than them. Because
and a lot of us
won't even look up the evidence.
Yeah. No, people are not. Yeah, brothers and sisters are. We're not. I mean, how can I say this? We've been patient. We've been really patient. But a lot of us now, and I mean, even I won't say it started now, but a lot of us are really just like, okay, we've already heard everything that you said. You keep making the same damn points. We're going to just basically, stop you from lying. We're always going to stop you from lying no matter what. We've been doing that. That's why we're the moral face of this country, because we fought against the very evils that you put out. All the stuff that
I've been spending all of February celebrating quote unquote White History Month.
I saw those posts. I was like, whoa. I don't know if you know who Torian Rain is, right?
No.
He's a YouTuber. He did something similar a few years ago. Check him out. Torian Rain. Shouts to Torian Rain. Okay. He's on Instagram too, but he has he has something like that. He did like a few years ago. I was like, man, hey, if they
like, they've been asking for White History Month for years. Every February since I have had access to the internet, it's been some white dude complaining that there's no White History Month, and I'm giving it to him.
And that's funny. I just think it's funny because it's that's already at default. They just use code words like American to say what their history is, and yet we're considered un-American. So I don't let cats get away with that junk. I'm like, dude, you guys have all kinds of stuff at default, and then you want to basically kind of pawn it off on something else, but then claim that stuff. Like.
They want to be like, oh, yeah, white people built America. No, you didn't, nigga. We did.
Dude, that response. Yeah, and for free.
For free. You're welcome.
Anyone talks about hard working, try doing it for free with nothing, dude. Try doing it for free and going through hell doing it. I don't want to hear about anybody not being hard working. Huh?
reward was being able to eat at the end of the day, and what you were eating was a bowl of molasses.
My God. Yeah, I don't let cats get away with that.
Today I posted for what History Month, a bunch of picnics, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Ah, Lord of mercy.
Just finding those, like, because Google didn't even have the images, right? I had to use Bing. Ugh.
Wow.
But I had to use Bing to find the images I needed. And then the moment I posted them, Facebook immediately censored them.
See, and okay, we're gonna talk about this. Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok. Because I follow this one sister on TikTok, and how they said that basically her video got deemed because they said it was hateful when she's talking about things that happened to us. It wasn't hateful at all. You're just exposing the truth. So it's funny how these same people, and I'm going to mention their names. Well, I'll mention one of their names. Actually, I won't. You know who I'm talking about. Talk about all this woke stuff, which I am woke. I don't care. That came from our people. It came from black consciousness. That's what I am. It has nothing to do with anyone else in any other minority group but us. I don't give a damn what anyone says. That's our consciousness, and we are still going to be that. So them using those racial code words, you're basically saying that you're anti-black. Mark Zuckerberg, all these cats are saying that, but yet we're reporting people making racial threats. You want to basically say there was nothing wrong. We're also putting up our own history. You want to try to outlaw that and bing it and say it was something else. And see, that's the problem. They're hypocrites, complete hypocrites. The fact that you're saying that, it's happened to me too. Even YouTube, one of my main channels that I have, not the Black History of Rock and Roll one, but I think it affected that one. I got shadow banned, and it even got my channel taken down, dude. Shouts to Lisa Cabrera, another YouTuber you should check out, got my channel back. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this. We're not stopping at that. We're telling our own story.
Well, yeah. We're telling the actual history. There's documented physical evidence of the things y'all did. It's all over the internet. You can't scrub it, no matter how many CEOs you coerce. It's already out there. Everybody can find it.
Yeah.
And most people have posted it at least once somewhere. So unless you delete the entire internet and restart it from the ground up, it's not going anywhere.
And check this out. A lot of us have even been documenting our own stuff. That's the whole point.
And even
that's
so,
why a lot of brothers. Yep.
So even so, with us documenting our own history, even if you restart the internet, guess what we're gonna do? Put that shit right back up on the internet.
We are. We are. I'm not letting, dude. When one of these outlets calls you a bully because you're talking against police brutality, when you're talking against people killing your own people, that's a problem.
Let me
you're being called a bully. It's literally.
Let me tell you a related story when it comes to cops. So, when I was in Zolto, I made a video because I believe it was one of the God, which one was it? Maybe it was Philando Castile. It was probably Philando Castile. I believe that happened at the time. But after one of the unjustified police killings, I made a video about how cops are scared of their own shadows because, I mean, obviously. And I posted it on TikTok, and it blew up because I'm very good at what I do. Before TikTok shadow banned me into oblivion. But when I went back to Zolto, my drummer specifically was very angry about it because he was one of those guys who knows somebody who's a cop and didn't.
So do I.
Like, yeah, right. And didn't like me making fun of cops, and they made me delete the video.
Really?
They made me delete a lot of videos because they didn't like my content.
They come from two different worlds, bro, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I was in another band where I got into a full scale argument about things like this, and I'm like, look, you don't come from the same world that I do. I can tell you things that have happened to me when I was a little kid that before I even started seeing any kind of police brutality in the media. Dude, and then, well, you have to have done something. No, I didn't do shit. See, that's the world they don't know about. I'm not trying
Philando
to
Castile
prove
didn't do
anything to
anything.
them or anyone else. They can kick rocks.
Exactly.
Hey,
Philando Castile didn't do anything. His
no,
crime
he
was
didn't.
owning a gun legally.
He didn't. Yeah, that was messed up. And then the NRA said nothing about it.
Of course not.
Mr. First
They don't
Amendment.
care when black people die. They only
It
care. They
wasn't.
only care when black people die, and even then they don't care because they're
Yeah,
what the thing is. They don't care. They only care about profits. They only care about what's their bottom line. They are the United Healthcare of gun organizations.
yeah. And it's funny because them or the men's rights activists didn't give a damn either. So it's just like we already know what auxiliaries they're from. What's up? I see my homeboy Michael, brother. This Madre. That brother's a mad cool drummer too, bro. You got to meet him.
Hell yeah.
Michael Lozani, the homeboy, Michael Lozano. I've had him play in my bands, and we've jammed out together. He's a really cool dude. He's also does media and like a lot of journalism too. Shouts to all of you guys that have come on here, man. It's really been cool. That's
Yeah.
the
What's up,
humble,
everybody?
man.
Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here and enjoying what you see so far. And thank you to Black History of Rock and Roll for having me because this has been a lot of fun.
Most definitely, man. And I know, like, I don't want to be too long-winded, but even with what we're talking about, do you feel being solo, you have more freedom to express that instead of being at odds with people that don't even know where the hell you're coming from?
I mean, being solo, I have more freedom to do everything.
True, true.
This is why I don't want to talk a bunch of smack about metal musicians in LA.
No, and I don't take it like that.
What I will say is there are not enough metal musicians in LA that meet the standard I'm trying to set. Maybe I'm too what's the word I'm looking for? Conceited? Not conceited. Maybe my standards are too high. Maybe my standards are too high. Maybe I'm arrogant. Maybe I'm a piece of shit. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not interested in other people's opinions.
If you were conceited, trust me. And I've interacted with some people that I am trying not to think that they're conceited, but a part of me is like, I think they might be. I'm just trying to fight that, but you're not conceited, bro. Trust me.
Let me tell you right now, I am definitely 100% the best undiscovered singer in Los Angeles, probably California, most likely America. I will say
a great
that.
Voice.
I know. Thank you, because I know.
Confident. I'll just say that. I don't want to say conceited because you don't think you're the only cat. Well, I can't tell you what you're thinking, but
no, not the only. No, not by a long shot. There are so many people better than me. There are way many people better. Have you seen Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box? Are you serious?
Man,
Be better than me, but I am the best undiscovered.
Yeah, you got some skills, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael said this. Gotta have. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you as well, brother. Michael said this. Gotta have standards. Can't play the same song your whole life. And it's funny because you were talking about that earlier.
Yes, I would say you can't play the same song your whole life, but tell that to Breaking Benjamin because they've been writing the same song for 25 years and it works. It works every time. I listen to every single Breaking Benjamin album, even though they all sound exactly like the last one.
Man, I've never even heard. I'm old, man. I don't even know about that band. I'm still listening to Sabbath.
Breaking Benjamin was new metal, my guy.
I only know about the main ones, homeboy. Like, and even I'll be honest, there are very few new metal bands that I like. I mean, POD, of course, I know those guys, but also, yeah, I know those guys. I knew them before they were even famous.
You know POD, but you know Breaking Benjamin. They toured together.
I know POD because they were on the same label as my band. Well, my band's not a metal band, but also we're in the same circles. But that's
Okay.
the only reason I know them. But I like Slipknot and I like System of a Down too. So it's like those are the three bands that I thought were cool, you know. And Korn's dope too.
You've heard the song Diary of Jane. I know you have, right?
Nah, I haven't, bro.
I've been running from my place in the Diary of Jane. Come on, you've
I
heard that
haven't
song.
heard it. You guys hear his voice? Yo, now you got to do the black metal vocals, man. If it's not too bad around your house, you know, like
It's like 9 o'clock. Like it's
okay,
it's a
yeah,
little late.
I ain't gonna do that to you because I can't do that here either.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's a little. But maybe next time, if you want to hear my real vocal, you can just go, listen to my songs. So the link's in my
yeah,
bio.
no, I have. That's why I'm like trying to give people a taste. But yeah, if you guys want to hear that, what's up, DJ High Yellow? Long time no see, brother. Long time no see. That brother's cool too, man. It's been a long time since I've even seen this brother online.
Excellent.
But man, I know you got to do your thing. Here's what I want you to do. Give cats, because I know you got a lot of social media. I'm going to let you tell them because there's a gang of it. Give everybody your detail. But also what I want you to do, we usually ask people to give their word of wisdom. You know, oh, that's why. Yeah, we haven't seen you, brother. I'm glad that you showed up tonight, man. Like seriously, homie. So what I want you to do is just like give your social media and also give like, word of wisdom. We always have our guests do that. So if you can, and anything else you want to
Sure.
ask me, I forgot to ask that too.
No. As far as asking this, I hadn't even thought that far ahead. But I can give you all the socials and all the information. As far as socials go, all of my socials are the same. Eli Arnold Vox. If you want to find me anywhere, that's going to be Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, definitely, which is where I'm at. I have 2 accounts on there, Eli Arnold Vox and 2.0. So just look me up. You'll be able to find me, ELIARNOLDVOX. Easy to start following. In fact, DJ High Yellow just started following me, so it's very easy. Thank you very much for doing that. But yeah, Eli Arnold Vox on quite literally everything, including Blue Sky. So, hit me up over there. As far as words of wisdom go, what I do want to say is if you have an artistic dream, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you think you can't do it anymore, do it. We are living in dark times, my guys. We're running out of time to do the things we want to do. We are running out of time. If you want to do a thing, stop telling yourself you can't. Stop telling yourself you're going to fail, because 1, you're going to fail. It's how you react to failure that matters. And 2, you don't have much time left to try. So do it now. If you're out there and you're watching this video and there's something you want to do, something you want to make, something you want to create, you need to do it. And you need to start tomorrow. You need to start tonight. Because like I said, you're running out of time. And there's no reason why you shouldn't. That makes any logical sense. So do it. What do you got to lose? A little bit of time?
That's some good word.
Follow your
That's a very good word, man.